A very good evening to everybody. All of you at home, whatever you're doing, stop it, come round your television, sit down, get your popcorn. It's another exciting edition of Hour of Inspiration. This time, I've got these beautiful young people sat with me here. Before anything, I'd like to greet Osofu Mame. Mama Sarah, thank you for allowing me this space again. It's such a privilege and an honor. I don't take it lightly at all. And as I said today, it's just us, me and these beautiful young people, young men and women. I don't know, but it's going to be exciting, it's going to be nice, it's going to be warm, it's going to be educative, informative. More than that, it's going to be authentic through to the core of us. So sit down wherever you are and then relax. Would like to appeal to all of you. And first of all, would like to thank you for your donations and your support that comes our way. We don't take it lightly at all. Again, yes, it made us a bim review. Still would like to appeal to you to support us through all we do, as you always do. And we're so grateful. More than that, we'll be grateful. Thank you. So, our topic today is peer pressure. What it means to be young in the year 2022. A lot is going on. So we're going to be sitting down and we'll be chatting. No topic is off limits, is there?
No.
No, so we're going to be talking about everything. When I say everything, I mean everything. So before we go on, I would like us to introduce ourselves. I'm Mrs. Obeng. I'm a member of this beautiful and noble church. We'll start with you, gentlemen. What's your name?
Thank you for having me. My name is Nanajima Prempe, but mostly you can call me Medicine. I like to be called that way anyway, and I love being called that. Thank you very much for having me today.
Right, and you beautiful lady.
Hi everyone, my name is Esther Edu, but I'm also known as Esther B because of my music.
Right, and you, sir?
Thank you. Evening all. My name is David Tinkramer. I'm a member of the church.
Actually,
your friend David.
Right.
I'm a member of the church.
Okay. And you, slinky lady?
Hello everyone, my name is Beatrice and I'm the producer's sister-in-law.
Oh, wow. Okay. All right then. So our topic for today is peer pressure. I think many brainwash, but another side to this, many inside brainwash, because I interact with a lot of young people and the challenges of being young in this space with social media, with people, with friends, with the church, with even within society, with parents. It's so challenging. And more than that, with peers, it's even more challenging. So I'd like to get through to the core of this. More than that, so we're going to be talking about young country. So the challenges that you're facing as young people. When I say young people, between the ages of 18 to 26, is that fair?
Mm.
Okay. So Anna, what do you say?
I say
30.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. They said 18 to 30. That is what young is.
Yeah.
Well, mid time na 18 to mid 20s, but I'm say I'm per se yeah extended BBS.
Yeah, the life expectancy is longer.
All right then, Mrs. Research Lady. Okay, so we will be talking through the ages of 18 to 30. Not ya cover most things. Now, I'd like us to think about the pressures we face. Well, first of all, as young people, do you think we face pressure in church? I'll start with you, Medicine, because when I'm showing him. Do you think we face pressure in church? From the older generation, from the elders within the space, or even from our family and from our parents? Do you think we do that?
I do think that's what's going on
I am a tree number.
because my lucky. I've been through, say, 3 generations, the 18th, the 19th, and the 20th,
Right.
because 19th centuries now was a bit different.
Right.
The early 1990s, I've got the opportunity to be through that. And then 20th centuries, to say, ene baba, ene 2021 for more freya, basuya, and
Right.
yes, you know,
Millennials.
computer babies. No?
Yeah.
So I think that and the church do expect a lot from the young people coming up, because for every church to have a future, it's built on the young people.
You're right.
Nti asɔre bi a mfa ne youth India agro.
Sir.
From say we feel children's service now they be bar towards young age now be youth no. That is where asɔre ne expect to say from that time no, even oba obe ware no the opese okoye wo uni abraba opese obo say the opese o lifestyle ni bibia no eya na a bit influenced by your denomination and as sorry I would as a young people, and that is where the pressure comes in, because as a young person, me back in our days in the 90s, no, we didn't see it that way, because that time, you know, young people literally near almost a young person sorry I'm not training or the by nay you've been brought all the way from church into young person. The young have got the zeal to do something for God lately than before, although we are pressure and so on.
Okay.
Enti ema asori ni hu ye in a certain way say there na say wo ye wantari shemu onam fofamu adwuma mpa wo ye the opese wo ye manyame wa ware mu ni nyina no, and that is putting much pressure on the young people of this current generation no, say e mi koye we kra no ma sorry hu me be can say me kokoye sad we are sorry for whom me can say. So there's a lot of pressure coming on the young person, and I can feel for them, although I'm facing off this generation, but I can still feel for them the pressure that they face, thinking that I've been from the 90s and I'm in the 20s, because I've passed 30 now. So I've get the opportunity to experience these pressures, and I feel for them because the young people now are going through a lot because the church expects more.
Okay. All right then. And yeah, also
I
Auntie Esther. Do you feel the same?
Yeah, I 100% agree with everything that he said. There's a lot of pressure that we face, especially with the social media now, Basono, especially Instagram.
Yeah, within the context of the church.
Yes, still like social, because even with our church, you know, now we are using these like technological tools to push to reach out for the youth. Now that compared to the 90s, no, the youth has now come to be more part of church activities and more serious and have a bigger zeal. So still, no, the social media aspect, you know, I think say it's relevant to it, you know. In all they can't, everything that he said now, it adds a lot of pressure on the younger generation.
How about
I would 100% agree with what both of them have said. There's definitely pressure in the church, from the church, but sometimes, I think maybe we'll come to this, but some pressures can be good, pushing you to do better, expecting for you to go higher than what your parents have gone. But obviously, in every good side, there's a bad side. So there's definitely pressure from the church, pressure from you to exceed and not just be comfortable in where you are. So yeah, there's definitely pressure.
Okay. Would you also agree?
Yeah, I'd say to some extent, because during the era that our parents grew in, things were done a bit more differently. So at our age, when we were exposed to a lot more things than they were back then, we may choose to do things in a different way than they may have done previously. So the pressure would come from them thinking, well, it's been this way the whole time. Why do you think you bringing in this way? No, like, if it's not broke, don't fix it kind of thing. And it's more of a, I don't know how to explain it, but I'd say because things were done a lot more differently, and in our era, there are various different ways that we can do things. There can be some sort of pressures there if it's not understood in the right way.
Okay, so then, can we then be quite explicit? Because we're saying pressure, pressure, pressure. I think medicine mentioned some around ABR or ba, some around ABR what you wear. What would you say as some, can we be specific within the, because we can't generalize it, we can't put a blanket statement. But what would you say as some of the specifics? Medicine work can be, so I'm going to go to, what can social media, what else do you think are some of the pressures? Because we don't want people to sit at home. How will they know if we need to be explicit? So what are some of the things that you feel that is within the church space that it puts pressure on young people?
One thing could be I don't know, your university choice.
Right.
The subject that you study. Maybe you want to do something completely different from what the majority wants to do. Or maybe crowd the union or a new dream
Yeah.
for you want to do your own apprenticeship or some sort of like, you know, courses they'll straight put you into work, but you may face peer pressure from your parents. Say, oh, na say ajwa or your law, na I'm my own say, or your doctor now soon. Do you get it? So it could be, I don't know. Yeah, university in terms of education, that could be one. Relationships, maybe you're at an age where all your peers are getting married, you're still single, or maybe the person you're with.
God is with you, man.
You're not there yet. You're
God
not
is
there.
with you.
No, but I'm just saying, you know,
not there.
it's one of those things that can happen. Some might already, let's say, yeah, I'm in a group where we are all married, but yeah, God forbid, but I may be the only one that doesn't have a child.
Yeah,
Do you get it?
yeah,
You know, stuff
Yeah.
like that among the youth, especially here in church. Another thing I can think about, maybe I can hear everyone saying they've bought a house, but I haven't bought a house. I don't know.
Yeah.
These are the examples that come into my
Right.
mind personally
Okay.
in terms
Yeah,
of the church.
I agree, and especially when you're in a close-knit community where everybody knows what everybody's
Everybody's doing.
Yeah.
it puts a sort of spotlight on you. I say, Obia, you say, what about you? I think that's where the pressure can start coming from. If you see everybody else doing this and you're at a place where you're not where they are, but maybe you would get there, but because they're there now, you feel as though everybody's looking at you like, what about you? And that's where those sort of pressures come from. And then you start comparing yourself, and then you start keeping up with the Joneses, and you're not supposed to because you don't have the means to do so. And then the problems start coming.
Okay. Dave, are you going to add anything to it, or you agree
I
with
was-
the ladies?
I agree, but I was going to ask a question that is there some form of pressure where it can form into motivation? So is there type of good pressure there?
Yeah,
Maybe
absolutely.
how you gave an example of maybe your parents pushing you to do another course or another degree, but yourself, maybe you're not really sure about what you want to do with your future, but maybe that pressure from your parents or your friends saying, say, why don't you look into this? Or maybe push you to go a step further where maybe you'll be a little bit relaxed. So
And that's the thing, there's good comparison and bad comparison.
Yeah.
You can compare yourself in a way that it motivates you, but you can also compare yourself in a way that if you don't have the strength in you to see it's there, they're doing this, maybe I need to use it to motivate myself.
Right.
Not a lot of us have that capacity to use that to motivate us. Initially, you would just beat yourself down and think, well, most people do, from my perspective anyway, think, like, what is wrong with me, sort of thing. Why am I the only person in this sort of situation?
And another dimension to that is also there is good, pressure. So if it's good and, you're like, oh, I resonate, maybe I can challenge myself to do that, then it's good. But sometimes it's like, it's not in you. It's not the core of you, it's not what you want to do. So then you come into a space, you're like, oh, want to say, well, then your mother is like, oh, yeah, class. Everyone will say, girl, no, BG, I don't say, well, kwa yellow, no. Also, kwa yellow. But say you are a stylist. Say you are the photographer. Absolutely. Oh, but to me, cry, it's not in you.
Yeah.
You want to do something different. Say you are a Michelin chef. But then because the pressure, around the church space, you're like, okay, but then one, I mean.
And there's one thing with young people, and whichever angle we're gonna see from, youth even if it's coming as a motivation, it's still they don't like to be compared to one another. That's how young people are.
Right. Okay.
Oh, mommy, we are buy a doctor until the way. As soon as you make that comparison, literally in the mind of a young
That's
person,
it.
Yeah.
at the medium, so minim them person me life. So no matter how you look at it as a pressure, say you just try to motivate, it tends to be negative towards a young person. Because in a young person's mind, from the age 16, 17 going, if you look at how research portrays it, people are willing to take risk, willing to do things they want to do, and they don't want much control. But in our Christian setting, in African setting, no, I expect to say what do 16, 17, obi ko university into so kase me jai school, me kwako, me even and then a football cry very during our time when we go playing football, mama they ababa be chasing what park so because obeso kobobo. And most times I was saying kase ma minimum yakomo jai my bobo. Ebi aka by now we've been somebody.
Hey, by this time, now a baby tele,
see,
you know.
But we've got that thing say, oh, ya sorry no.
No, we did the way Jane wouldn't any be a bed share.
That is the problem.
No, do not provoke your child.
Do not provoke. Inti umpe now with the way Jane.
Suffer by a lawyer, you know, then it becomes a trend for everybody. Who says suffer by a lawyer? I remember in my church, and saying this, there was my pastor's son was a bank. I think at that time was a bank manager.
Right.
At that time, and looking through it, now university for niche than near sorry honum. So every time, then my mom would keep telling me, show one coffee co university and they were bank. And literally growing up now, there were so many things. You look at yourself, you look at the challenges you're going through as a young person, you look at what others are doing. People are not being in school and they're still making money, and you still thinking, remember, I'm missing coffee here, bank manager, and team, university, and you end up picking a university course. At the end of the 4 years, you become an unemployed graduate. And then you see one of your mates that went on selling, opening stores and shops. They are selling really good, but because in the church and in that setting, no, people's children were going to the universities, you know, you push into it. Obi wa no acquire course be to say, there are people in University of Ghana doing a lot of courses that doesn't even matter because friends are going to university.
Oh, yeah, Greek.
Ghana is, they say, me back of us. Me back with you or crashing you. But then, literally, if you look at the person, one year she was school. But it's the pressure from community, pressure from the church that pushes them there. So I think looking at it as a good thing, no, with the young people, it's never going to be good when you compare them to someone else. It takes an highly motivated young person who say, say the person you say that is when the person is determined to do something, but not necessarily be on one job at your mouse on midwife or the other.
Oh, fine. And another thing I was reading around this topic, and I saw something say another reason why young people feel pressured. They feel say the adults around them are hypocrites or they haven't been honest to them. So Omobeka say, oh, yeah, Susano share, yes, I may not be me very good, me Sunday school me. Do you guys feel the same? I'll start with you, B.
I think it makes it seem as...
First of all, do you feel that parents or adults around us haven't been honest with us? And if yes, how, why?
That I personally cannot say, because when they say back in the day, when I wasn't there.
You're right.
I wasn't there, but it's sort of, sometimes I feel like it's a bit unrealistic how they used to say, I used to be first in the class, I used to do this, I used to walk 15 kilometers to school, all of those
without
kind of stuff. I used to be able to do this, and it makes you feel like
you're a failure.
Yes, to some extent, because within our world, within what we're doing, if I'm trying to say, what will be realistic goals are, they can achieve that, and then they can break it and go even further. However, if you make it seem unrealistic, it can somehow demotivate you into doing it, because you feel, I can't do that, so what's the point?
Now, also, Dave, what do you think?
Yeah, exactly the same. Personally, I don't know, my parents don't always use that yardstick, but
Heard it before.
I've definitely heard that before. Like, Nami was gonna make me try A's and the economics cry, and I'm in top of the class. But yeah, definitely, if you're hearing that all the time, it's not really what you want to be hearing to motivate you.
Okay.
Because maybe, for example, what you need to get into university is a BBB.
Right.
But you got your parents telling you, nah, B, yeah, so try A now, what B, what is B?
I
So
think it's also pushing you, though.
Yeah.
But
It hardly does that because what
Yeah.
I'm saying now, why do you say into when you're any what fail before
What
so the
fail,
starting
yeah.
time?
That's true.
Okay.
Yeah.
There's
get
two
it.
different like putting effort in passing an exams and passing an exams. Exams why we fail no break right and they all pass it.
Oh, I see.
That is how it is.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sure.
Okay, so another question something I wanted us to discuss. Do you feel, say, sorry, you're boring? Because I was reading this research, and it tells me that 95% of young people leave church. They don't care about church. They don't want to be here. And I was like, whoa, if anything, church should be the space they would come to for solace and compassion. If anything, that is where we feel more at home and at peace. Why would young people leave the church like that? So, guys, let's talk about it. Where is that coming from?
I'll say church becomes boring if you don't understand the purpose of going there.
Right.
Because if, from the age of 15 or even less than that, your Sunday or sorry pa, sorry no pa, or mommy say yentem, so atari akwa sorry.
Right.
That's all you've known for Sunday. You don't, your mom never or your dad never explained the purpose of you going to church. All you knew is Sunday. I have to go to church.
Oh.
Then it's a routine, exactly.
All
So
right.
when you grow to an age where you have that free will, or parents intimately shall say, sorry, then that's when you make that decision, say, do I really want to do this on Sunday? Or do I want to go and play football, like on Sunday? So it's when you don't understand the purpose, then you become, nah, this is not even my vibe.
Yeah.
I get it. I think that one more thing though could be that maybe the young people that are in the church, they may understand the purpose and everything, but they may not be heard from the leaders because maybe they may want to implement some changes. They may have some ideas, and they've had the church also going like, the youth are our future, whatever. But the youth is not really being given any little power to even do something small to change the course of things and to prove, say, okay, this like impact that the church has got, as the youth not yet share.
Right.
Do you understand? So when the youth is really neglected and not trusted, it can really push them away, say, this whole church thing,
You can't relate
we don't
to
really rely. And I say, yeah, or be free a certain church, I call somewhere else, or free say they feel more,
All right,
empowered.
then. People at home, please put your comments. I think this is such an educative space for me. I'm learning so much. Youth, for say, we're not empowering them. So sometimes it feels like they don't feel like they're a part of it. What are you saying? Put your comments on it underneath the space, and we're going to be reading it. Okay, is it true? Or do we give them responsibilities and they don't play their part? So that is why we don't trust them, because it could mean that, couldn't it? Because when you prioritize something else and you're given a responsibility in church, you're going to go to that. So do you think you've also filled a responsibility, or you haven't acted on a responsibility in the church space? That is why this is not happening.
It could be.
I think it's the youth involvement in the church has been really better.
Okay.
Yeah, because I could remember in the early 90s, like when we started growing up, in an entire church, even the music department, you have only choir master, big man, old man, being the choir master. You get all the choir members being old ladies. My mom used to sing in the church, and I always asked her, why are you even going to sing? She was old. But at this time, you've got a lot of young people that are into ministry. You've got singers that are always singing in the church. You've got a lot of people. In my entire church, to be a drummer, you then need to be to that level.
Namoko interview be an like rigid interview.
Abano kura wunya bi na dia kofi na dia bebo. Ti obotwen ne papa panyin na fa abano de kofi. Oh, young person, oh nya bi na dia bebo. But now you see young people like you see young ministers that are singing, young people that are going into gospel stuff, they are doing church stuff. You got first, you can't be a youth leader, but you be in papa penny.
Right.
And then be managing the youth. But now you've got the young people managing the youth and stuff. So it has really grown up a bit. But what we need to do is to do more pushing into the youth. Not putting pressure on them, but letting them know what they can do.
Absolutely. Encouraging them. Now, let's go to the Bible says our body, the body keeps fighting the spirit all the time. And it's a shame saying, yeah, sorry, them not the BIT. We come here for how many hours? About 3 hours at most. And, you know, we say our prayer and near the then we go. So when we're going, our bodies and our spirits are fighting all day. Now, we're going to be talking about the challenges we face, our humanity, how it comes through. Medicine. Won't worry. How have you fallen into sexual sin, and how have you been able to deal with it in a way that you felt you're like, oh, I have conquered this? Have you conquered it, first of all?
Okay.
And if you have, how have you been able to deal with it? Because people are listening and they're going to be learning from you.
What I want every youth to be aware is when you accept Christ as your Lord and personal Savior,
Right.
your shape don't change. Your personality don't change.
It don't.
The people, sometimes even the friends that you have will not change. Your ex-girlfriend will still be your ex-girlfriend.
Oh dear.
It doesn't change. That's sometimes the horrible truth that we forget to tell young people. That but we forget say these are young people that have got free will to decide anytime they want to decide.
Yeah.
When I was at university, luckily God being enough, I was blessed by brains. Obia yesu ni ma de bia ema pe wasem ema pe ba ho.
Oh.
Wow.
These are gospel truths. Obia oko school Ghana bia will tell you in secondary school time, in university time, uni mathematics, uni economics.
And to the man saying, come here, say. No, my best.
Not
Papa, what's here? Where the anyafin now been to medicine?
Not necessarily say unya ma baby, but you can't deal out with that.
Right.
And in school time, girls like say cute and intelligent guys.
Absolutely. And you are all of that.
So, Obeko National Science and Maths quiz. You see when they quiz money school. I was one of those people in my secondary school times. I was doing this.
And you have the looks too. You look cute.
Miss Onyame and Bomi, but basasa.
Of course, of course.
Yeah.
So these are the things that, as a young person, who say my 5 years to say me cry na majinkwa. But your looks has not changed. Your friends has not changed. The desire that you had has not changed.
Absolutely.
And that's one thing I learned with myself growing up. There was only one thing.
Esther, when you
Someone is just making me laugh.
So going forward, there was only one thing that I was always keeping in mind.
Right.
My thing that kept me on my toes, not to fall much into that, was my mother's advice.
Good.
Every time that I get out to go out to school, he would just tell me, look at me, I've only got one cloth left. If you bring or impregnate any woman, you stop school, and then I'll use that money.
Absolutely.
And in my entire family, I was the first person to go to the university. So
it was a huge pressure.
You need to stay in line. So ladies in the chromo banners are also ni na no kai say she wonyema asamato. Not what about. So but as a young person, as honest as we all fell into that, university life, especially in Ghana, is not that easy because then you go through that. Adomache dia bia kakra
Na mani bi tuetu ama won kakra.
Oh, ebi be ye aduane amoedi because obeba mo akye ne mas. Wa no amoani a oba won kyere no.
Oh, we dey mai mo fa nche ye. Medicine afa yes say e kra na. Enti wo ya wo hwe ya. O aya body afofro.
Udi Indomie power.
Indomie. Yeah,
Indomie back.
There fried rice and chicken.
Baku ya baby omo ye Jofel fried rice or Okotek.
Wata kumasi achepa.
Yeah.
Airport roundabout. So these are the things that you do. You need to have a look through certain things. Right. Especially when I came to the UK, I was working with young people. And on like every 3 months, we had a staff social. And young people between the age of, say, 16 to 28. And when you go to the clubs, because the job do pay us to go have fun.
All right.
So you go to the club, we pay for drinks and stuff. If you don't stick to yourself really well, these are the things that you fall in. Sometimes it's not even about a man as a young person and
drugs.
You might fall into it, and these are the things that I stick to myself. I'm someone that's never drank. I don't even know the taste of alcohol before. I've never tasted it. But there are other stuff that you do that makes you more bad even than fornication and drinking. There are other things as a young person growing up that we got ourselves involved at. It's even worse than having a girlfriend or not. But you then have to look back and then find a purpose for yourself.
Okay.
I think from what Medicine was saying about the drinking and all that, because I work in a...
One country, there are people at home.
I'm trying to mix in a
Yeah.
Let's
And
take it
please
to
put
English
your
no more.
comments, okay?
Yeah. Myself working in the corporate world, like before COVID, mostly before COVID, Fridays, most people come to the office for Fridays for meetings and stuff like that. And then after they'll be like, oh, you want to go out for a drink and stuff like that. So then it's easy to get pressured into like, oh, have one drink. If you don't, they'll look at you funny. Well, you don't drink. It's like it doesn't make sense to them. Like you don't drink.
But you didn't take your medication. Are you okay?
So like for me, they always know that when I go, because I go a different view that I'm going for networking. So because a lot of the directors and a lot of them come there. So I'm going that view that I'm going to go to network, and they always say, so oh David, you're gonna have a Fanta in it. So it's always that there's the pressure
they mock you.
that when you don't drink, like it doesn't make sense, but that's the kind of pressures that you can go as a young person.
Okay, Emmanuel, what are some of the pressures and advances towards you guys as a Christian young woman? And as more than that, a beautiful young woman. What do you think? How are you able to stay away from the sexual sin? Have you, first of all? And
I
if
mean,
you
definitely the temptations are there. Like,
Right.
not gonna lie, as he was saying, once you accept Jesus Christ as your Lord and Savior, it doesn't mean that you are completely changed.
Yeah.
There's a different like mindset. No cry, no step by step, day by day.
God is
and
good,
yet,
my dear.
A full 360 one-time thing.
No.
Every day you're renewing your mind with the Word of God and with the help of people around you. So definitely all types of temptations slap us left and right, up and front. Of course, as you also said, not to boast, but it's of course something awesome, but everything the enemy always tries to get to pervert. So there's also a backside of being beautiful, which is, the temptations and attracting all these things. So definitely one thing that carries me on and that helps me is just really staying in the Word of God. Because me, I don't know how to say it, but I hear voices, and I can easily get discouraged by certain things. So really counterfeiting, or let's say battling of these things with the Word of God, and also just looking at where my family is or where my family has come from, and just having that responsibility that I have to get somewhere better, and I just don't want to fail them, because I come from a single parent household, and going through the whole trauma of that is just one big motivation. Say, hey, I don't want to mess up.
You got to do better.
Because don't want that for my kids to get. So that's one thing for me personally.
It's almost like a baby having a baby sometimes.
Do you understand?
Isn't it?
That's the thing.
And it's a huge responsibility.
Yeah.
More than that, I'm out for you. A lot of people are sick, isn't it?
Yeah.
And sometimes when you're baby, now then you're on medication for the rest of your. So sometimes it's not even about say Christopher, it's about us also having common sense. What are you going to be in this for? You know what? Oh, yes, you do it, but then it's something that you feel dirty. I say when you're not ready to do it. As a one warrior, then you go and do it. And I said you feel so unclean. I don't know about you guys, but it's something you feel so dirty, you don't feel worthy of the presence of God. And so the only thing that you feel can make you feel good is, again, that sexual sin. Then you go back to it and you feel so much dirty again. A month for yari. So please, young people, stay away from all these people, okay? People are really sick. Hepatitis, baby, you don't have to deal with that, you know, okay? And it's something that needs to be enjoyed freely. So don't, when you wait, ubedru baby, then it's all yours and you don't, as a bed dog cry, what's the point, okay? Take your time. Okay?
Amen.
Anyway, B, what do you think? Do you feel the same way?
I definitely do agree with her in terms of, yes, I'm from a single parent home as well. And yes, there are lots of pressures out there, but I don't see myself as everybody else. Doesn't mean
Right.
I've got my goals, I know what I want. Yeah, you will see me there. I went to a Christmas party at work that I didn't want to because I was trying to seem like I get involved in what everybody does. And at the end of the day, I was given a permanent contract solely because I felt like, yes, I'm the only black person there.
Face of diversity.
Exactly, but they still see that I'm trying to get involved. So I think that it can work in your favor. Because it will be, but that's okay. But for me, I don't see any point. You may think I'm antisocial. God, I just don't care.
Absolutely, and you shouldn't,
anymore.
isn't it? So do you think our parents or the adults around us have created a space where we would be able to have, like, for instance, excuse me to say, ma, boy be send you see me medicine or baby sebe me catch your ma and me call her. Like, do you think that space has been created and answer what the best you would rather call Valentines-day?
I think that would have to be like an individual to individual case.
Yeah, that is what I want to hear your perspective.
Personally, no.
Why?
Being 100% honest.
Is it because you're going to be judged or you're going to be seen a certain way, or
it's just be a very awkward conversation to have. So, such a sensitive topic like that.
It depends on what relationship you have with your parents, though.
So, personally, I would say no, but maybe something I'll discuss my siblings or something.
And
but maybe it wouldn't go. Of course.
Yeah.
Of course. I think anyone would be willing to go and discuss anything with their. But personally, I'll feel maybe just me.
I think it's because that space hasn't been created for you, which is why it will feel awkward to you. We all have that auntie who will spoil us, isn't it? I say, oh, auntie, no boy, we me am enough, and I say, Sebe. Or be me, I'm a baby, and I say, you know, or someone did that to me, and they're like, oh no, you shouldn't let anybody touch you like that. I think parents or adults around us, we should create that space. B, do you think you'd be able to share that with an adult around you, or you'd rather share it with a friend?
I've always felt like my mind is from a different era.
Right.
I relate to older people a lot more, I believe. It depends on what relationship I have with the person. If I'm close enough to you, I can
I'm saying to say mum. Let's take it, mum
so my
or dad.
mum is like my best friend. I would tell her anything, even as a joke. We joke about the most stupid things. So with my mum, maybe yes, if it's relevant, but I won't just see my mum and start talking about the other day, you know. I can say it as a joke, or if it's relevant in the conversation I'm having with her, based on that relationship I have with my mum, I feel like it's a safe and open space for me to say anything. So
Absolutely.
with me, I think that I can.
How about you, Med?
With my mom, we joke a lot. So, but I think things have changed a lot. In the days when, even in school, when they tell you that this is your girl, you start crying. when you see that lady, you just even run away.
Yeah.
But now you get 11-year-old, 12-year-old seeing you and say, "Uncle, this is my girlfriend." Wow. In the days, how do we say that? You see your uncle and said, "Uncle, this is." I wouldn't dare, even when I was like 23, 24, to see my uncle and say, "Uncle, this is my." That's a runaway job. I can't do it. But now, I think the opens, most of my nieces and nephews, when I go to Ghana or here, they speak to me things that they won't even tell their mom, because they will just come to me and say, "Oh, uncle." And then we play, because I try to make myself approachable as much as possible.
Absolutely.
So if parents don't draw that boundary, that scares the children away.
And
I
that's
think
the thing. That's how it should be.
Yeah.
You should be
Yeah.
able to go to your parents and even
Absolutely.
because why it's a say it's now in a way that doesn't make you, I don't know, say because of say osro so much no. At the or
Yeah.
based on your reaction,
Yeah.
it's not comfortable or open enough for them to come to you and speak to you without you making that judgment. That was not good, just don't do it again. Some people just that talking to is fine, but some people it may need a bit more, which is why some parents do go extreme. So I do understand it that way, but I don't think so. I think having that sort of misro me mami and misro me papa no to do anything or say anything no makes most of us from what I've seen say. Or because the parents are very strict, you would not expect them to be doing this or doing that. Most of the time, you'd see they're the worst ones.
yeah, they do those things a lot.
It's because you're sharing so much, or PR, it's open space.
Yeah.
I'm just going to do what I
Open.
want. Yeah. And you're like, wow, this person I thought was like, do you know what I mean? And it's because of the parents and how they are. So it's better if it's,
And another dimension to it, to say, "Unam no biye will be obi to say, oh, me ko catch me mami, because now koye den wo." I said, they all of a sudden, no more baby blame me. Into you no cry dear and your own. I say, the parents don't trust their children, or they or mom feel so more young. Do you feel that there is a lack of trust between parents and the parent-daughter or parents-son relationship? Would you argue that?
In an African home, they would say that. I mean, I'm
I'm
close to my parents, but that's my mom's initial reaction. After but I think after that initial reaction, one, stop it there and try and listen and say, I'm trying to talk to you in a way so it's always like that. Yes, what's or what can say is what is the resolution to it at the end of the day?
And I think one thing that parents, I'm not a parent, so I can't give advice on how you can treat your child better. But I'm just suggesting that one thing that parents could do that would help that relationship, if that best friend relationship is not there, is for them to also share their times of when they were doing, let's say in Kuala because I remember one time I did something and I told my mom, and of course she was upset, don't do it anymore. But she was like, you know what? When I was your age, I also did something else, and my parents and my father reacted like this, and it ended, and it made me feel closer because it didn't make me feel alienated as if I was this, alien from another space that can't do anything good. But it's like she understands me because she's been there before. So when, therefore, she was giving the advice, I know it's coming from a place of experience where she's felt what I felt, and not just from a place of judgment, because you don't understand how I felt when I was doing what I was doing. Do you understand? So definitely, if parents would share more of their mistakes with us, we won't see them say, we will judge them, but definitely will bring us closer that we are all in this together.
All right then, and we're going to go for a quick commercial break on what Esther is saying. So parents, let's open up a space where young people can talk to you and maybe use your past mistakes as an example, as a point of conversation, so then they don't feel like, oh, it's just them against the world. They will feel like, oh, it's us together. All right, we're going for a quick commercial break. We'll be back. All right, then welcome back. And say young people no come to mama say chicken na see her no marry. They were so hungry. Anyway, we thank you for joining us wherever you are. You're in your homes, watching your TV. You're at the gym, exercising, putting some work in. You're at the kitchen cooking. We thank you for joining us. This is Hour of Inspiration. We've got some beautiful young people here who are very hungry, as I said. But we're chatting and we're getting into the conversation. So put your comments underneath the video, and we're going to read it at some point. Very soon, we're going to open the phone lines, and then you can also call to contribute. I think that before the break, we were talking about the pressures young people face. And right after that, I'd want us to, I think I was reading around this topic, and it came through that the young people in church feel, say, they're being pressured to be married. Do you guys feel that? Do you feel, I'll start with you, B. Do you feel, say, you're being pressured to marry? Do you feel, yes, it'll be a bit general counsel, worry, but with what is happening around you, do you feel that?
With me personally, I don't have that pressure because I've made what I want clear to the people close to me.
Absolutely.
So there isn't that pressure. However, around me, and even not even in the church or wherever, with girls, women specifically, the minute you're in your early 20s, say, even for so many the extended family that will come and visit, like, what's that? That kind of thing. But I feel like, yes, I can take some positive advice from you, but at the same time, no disrespect to anyone, but it's none of your business. If I'm to put it that way.
Okay. Also, do you feel, because I think that worry more of a pressure, isn't it? As a senior, would late to me say me worry very early. I married at 19. I married very, very early.
Hey,
and it tells you, honestly, I had my first child at 22. Wow. Like I married very early, and it tells you the rigid Christian background I'm coming from. No space for fornication at all. What you like, and it did me well. Honestly, it made me stay away from a lot of things. It made me focus. It gave me clarity. So I know that when you're ready, marriage is good. Yeah. But also, when you're being pressured or when you're not ready, I think Obia has their time. Yeah. Do you feel, sir, you have that pressure as a gentleman?
Personally, no.
Right.
But I'm still young, so maybe when I get to my late 20s,
late 30s, pension babies, minimum bubble.
Nah, I think when you get to the late 20s, for a guy, that's when that pressure, and sometimes it's not even the direct question they'll ask you, it's the indirect jokes that they'll be making. Say, hey, best me already know. Hey, now also.
That's the
kind of pressure. Yeah. So personally, I think for a guy, well, I can't speak for everybody. I think for a guy,
the pressure is different.
It's different, yes.
Okay. Esther, as a beautiful young woman, how do you feel about that? Do you feel, say, now me auntie, cousin, baby, war, London, also Onya Obia or see Obe wearing me of fiti the spec, who are the vital stats nina. No, be one more than a number amount. Winning pay. Do you feel that matchmaking situation?
Honestly, I don't feel a lot of pressure the way
have you had that before, first of all?
But yeah, I have received some indirect, here and there
proposals.
Yeah, if
Okay.
we want to call it like that. But yeah, stuff like that. One time I went to a wedding and I was just greeting the MC. I was just telling him, say he was really fun, you know, entertaining. And he was like, oh, me do be more be me guy be a war like
Oh,
just
dear.
like that, chubby, chubby. I say yeah.
Yeah, the old man will be
But it just was a big turn off. I got one question from a family member some time ago asking me like, okay, so
Now, what are you
do
doing
you
yourself?
go out?
Huh?
Do you go out? Like,
So I'm saying what
do you go-
shit.
do you understand?
I couldn't say kind of my.
So yeah, definitely there are some little like thingy coming from
Subliminal
here and there,
shots, be.
but it's not too much pressure like.
Okay.
But personally, I know like I'm confident where I am. I know I'm not ready and stuff
Right.
like that because it's better to be prepared, you know.
Than to start and fail.
I want to last. I just don't want to, you know.
Yeah, go and come out.
Exactly.
Yeah, yeah. I think it's a very big decision to be into
your whole life.
a relationship with this one person. One of my friends, she said to me, "Oh, Gifty, so into me warrior no one no. Does it mean that?" And she
friend
married?
having
Yeah. I'm like, yeah. I say, oh, and yeah, it's a very big decision. I'm like, yeah, it's a very big decision. So it's a huge decision. So if you're not ready, just take your time.
Yeah.
You will be ready. And mama for ne papa for, not everybody wants to marry. Honestly.
I think,
And you'll be an person worry.
Yeah, and it's the stand the church has to
Yeah.
review the concept of marriage in its whole totality.
Absolutely.
I think it's been
Controversial
taken-
statement.
It's
Out
been
of
taken
context.
away from
Yeah.
the family and
Yeah.
now been put into the church.
Oh, is
So-
that how you feel?
It came from the church.
In my own perspective,
Our
marriage
warrior didn't come from the church.
is a
though.
family union
It's a
thing.
biblical
It's-
thing.
But
Yeah.
then it's also
not how we portray it.
a social thing. It's a social construct as well. So yeah, whilst it comes from the Bible, the biblical context of it is minimal, I would say. It's more of a
shown how to do
social.
it.
I
Yeah.
have to disagree.
So
Yeah, because I think, yes, you're a Christian, and yes, marriage is a good thing. Being single is also a blessing. However, the marriage concept makes you understand your faith even better, I see it as. So the church pushing it, I don't see anything wrong with it. However, they shouldn't put pressure on people. I see marriage as, say, the mother, the father, or husband and the wife, and the children as God the Father, God the Son, and the Holy Spirit. You start to see
You
things
unite.
that way. You start, I think it's there for God. God put it there so we can understand Him more.
yeah.
I see it as so. I see it as a very good thing, and it came from the Bible. I'd say it as, but I wouldn't say it's a social construct. That's why.
I'll bet to differ.
Me too.
I'll bet to
I
differ.
beg to
that's-
differ
and that's
too.
the problem we have in this day and age. Marriage has now been a construct that is being reshaped and redesigned by the church.
And every time,
And
absolutely. Yeah.
now even families are having less to say and the church are having more to say in marriages.
Why that argument?
You meet a woman and then families do accept.
Yeah.
But you might even present it to your church and it can't be denied. I have a friend that came all the way from US to
Country.
marry. And no, call Ghana, so call I don't want to mention the church.
Right.
And Odru Honomono, the families and everything, like Obiaye, okay. The way they wanted to do their thing, no, say. The church denied him. And the guy literally
On what grounds?
on the ground said, this is our church way of doing it. So one way so they are our engine too. And literally the family agreed, which I, in my perspective, and from how we've been brought up growing up, our area was done between families.
Absolutely.
Oh mama, oh papa, oh mama, and papa, they sit down, they
Sir,
agree.
sir.
And even biblical, it's scriptural.
Yeah.
There's nobody that would debunk me and say Asama Maker is not scriptural. It's scriptural. Marriage is a union between families,
Two families,
not
yeah.
between churches.
No.
See, what you're saying is very interesting, but what was the reason? Because if you say the reason,
He
then
gave
it
the
makes it
reason.
more reason.
The
I don't-
reason is the way they want to marry doesn't go in line with the church guidance.
And what was that way? Is what I want to understand.
That would bring the
no,
church out.
And we don't want that.
So
we
it's something
really
to do
don't.
with the
Church.
it's something
Every
to do with
Friday
the
you're dressing.
denomination of the church.
Church principle.
Maybe I was so wedding gown.
Now, of course, I story name no name Sadadana. Because I saw be a room, I'm not sure said
But should it be the case?
But you've agreed to be in there.
No,
in
but
the
should it
first
be
place.
the case?
So why are you so
I think
shocked
mostly
that now they're imposing this on you because you want things to go your
What
own
if I'm the
way?
guy that have not been in that church? So, for instance, you are in this church.
Okay.
This church has got its own principle.
Yeah.
I'm coming outside, say from Assemblies of God,
Yes.
to marry you.
Yes.
I've never been in your church. I don't know what your church principle is.
Right.
Your mother has agreed. Your dad has agreed. My mom has agreed. My dad has agreed. We bring it to the pastor of this church and they said, "These are my principle. If you can't follow,
Papa
I can't."
won't do that anyway. This is hypothetical.
No, these are the.
I knew that already.
But maybe
so if I know that, why do I now have to say, sir, I've met somebody from Assemblies of God because me personality, I would expect the church to conform how I want.
No, but
No.
me different. Me na me be worry.
Yeah.
Me be man na me be worry no. Me nko wa sorry ni bi.
Right.
But say me je 2 months. Me nim sa no. Didn't know what say me be hwehwe in those what I say. Me nim sa sorry am me koni.
So you should marry someone that's
Who
in the
part
church.
has
you
said?
should marry
Oh
someone
no. That is
Limit yourself.
No, I strongly disagree. David.
Say idea waji atum dada. Na we then at the hot dada, so you shouldn't be surprised.
And who shall be outside the church? Men
Be outside the church. Nakasa me ko.
Oh no.
You see, that's what I'm saying. The church has taken charge of marriage instead of the family.
Unity na nyame ka say ye nyina ye nka mom se ba akofo ma no say ye ana ye nkọ wiase nkọ ka nyame asem no say ye nyina ye tena ase ne ye ware resurrection mu na ye wo resurrection mu. How will we then propagate the gospel?
Maybe a resurrection akase resurrection. So who are sorry we mu na
Right.
say oba and so we bema.
Right.
So ube warrior. Say ni say na what say with this.
Right.
Me kwa sa sorry no. Nim sa dada. Say bimpo. Me kwa akofo bi wa bontene a. Menim say master no SCC ya ade a megitum. Nti sa nipa ko no is not going against.
All right.
Sa de no. What you say? But I know that now purposefully no make for be a nipa no ways no does not conform with my church no. And I expect my church to out of nowhere agree because of me no. It's not fair.
Yeah.
And I don't see how it makes sense.
Marriage should it be based on church guidance or marriage in every definition, in every century, in every time? Marriage is a union between families.
Two families.
If a family rejects you, that's where the family has no grounds.
Yeah.
Not when church guidance rejects you.
I don't disagree with that.
But on that
However,
basis,
the
that
church
is where
is
it's
also
going.
there. And
It's
this
an
is the church that
institution,
you have put yourself into knowingly. This is what the church rules are.
And that is
What
the
I
pressure
say.
we get in young people nowadays.
So yeah.
And that is where the young people are now running away. You get
Running
about
from the
70% of young people now going into court marriages because they just take you, go straight to register a marriage, they're done.
On per wedding. No,
They don't want that cliche of this is what is.
Yeah.
And personally, growing up, I've always wanted a traditional way of doing things.
Yeah.
Growing up myself personally, like I would prefer the woman I want to be with done in a traditional way, where tradition accepts.
There's nothing wrong
But
with
when
that.
it gets to recognition, when you can present that marriage to be recognized because of your church principle, you feel
Then is a problem.
You feel rejected.
Yeah.
And I make us say,
Although you know you married, but in a way
you put
you look
yourself
like
in
you are
an
not.
Oh
institution
no,
that would.
I would disagree with you. Look,
And that's the pressure.
it's a progressive society. Obese, who wrote something this beautiful? Society keeps changing, isn't it? So when society changes, you need to change with time. Can a man share trousers and quite sorry, but then a man quite I share trousers. So I'm saying, sir, and I agree with you. what they will want to shame. Every cry ye will wo to mu. Every it goes against woman. Every cry now on your no na didn't want to mu. But ne mame edina kwa kotum on pet but onim se mi jaya. My mom will so feel sad. So I'm going for my mama. And to be honest, we've all done things for our family, haven't we? Auntie said, and there are things I agree with that my mom would never agree with. And there are things that my mom agrees with that I would never even have agreed with. Auntie said, ebi o kwa sorry na. Or going off of the back of what you're saying, or kwa so every cry there is no way. Ojaya is almost like at the end of the relationship with ne mama, ne papa, ne everything. And na ebisua I also know. I'm sorry, piwa wa man for worry wo mo. And sorry, piwa wa wunya o partner po. Inti wakwa one obi ko uni wakwa ko shia no de na ba. No, Babe, Warren, and now say, okay, I had it just I will share won't share, and he said, you say, yeah. I say, you are almost dividing the union that could have been so beautiful that God wants it done that way. Oh, and then I'm sure no with out of wedlock, no, because you have put this huge on the young person. Say, oh, what say we say, abrekwa. All those things, most of them are not biblical anyway. Why would you want to do that?
I will have to agree with what Beatrice said because, as she said, no. Whether you were born into it or whether you chose it, it's your choice.
Yes.
Right.
Do you understand? And, you know, yes, the church has rules and most of these because of denominations and stuff like that. But the rules don't stop only at the wedding. You know, Abia, you vouch so much for your church, your wife may vouch so much for her church. Yeah. And there's a way, hey, English name,
oh, take your time. Take your time.
Different, yeah.
Fine, why am wedding, whatever, with whatever difficulties. Now, when children also come, so they say, "Beyond also be follow near ye," and I said near papa, ni papa ye, and also so there's some sort of this unity, because no, me. Oh, you're Catholic. The person me bano, you say. Also, per se, bano, you say. And that is going to bring division. And it's as if a Muslim and a Christian have married. Yeah. But we are both Christians. But because of this denomination difference, it's still bringing, and it's not bringing peace. And the child doesn't know where to stand because of he say, okay, if I follow dad, I'm against mom. But if I follow mom, I'm against dad.
That is a different dimension. And
what I'm trying to say is that it doesn't end with the whole church regulations that would stop a wedding from happening because, oh, I saw in June too. Fine, okay, it goes beyond that. Division and differences, they go beyond the wedding and the marriage happening. Because in Kwalaba Muswa, you would still want your child to maybe follow your own traditional way of growing up and doing things. Maybe your husband, so from where he's coming from, no, follow there. So it doesn't end with just the wedding day and the whole protocol and process of getting married. No, personally, that's what I think.
Okay, so I will let you hold. Our phone lines are open. The number is underneath your screen. You can put your comment, you can call, and then you can share your piece with us. Hopefully, this beautiful, intellectually stimulating young men and women would help you answer your calls. Okay, thank you. Right. Going off of the back of what we were discussing, I think that Dave is quiet. He's like, oh gosh, you guys. But
I'm listening. It's interesting.
Oh, there's a caller online. Hello. Good evening, sir. Right.
Oh, okay. I'm really enjoying the whole thing by level as well.
Right.
It's a wonderful topic what you really.
Hello. Oh, Uncle Ben. Oh, hello, caller. Oh, thank you, Mama.
everybody. The person is listening to no one sorry. Now you're younger. No one and I won't feel it to come a lot of worry. No one you are sorry. Now, Cassette, hey, money, won't feel no quite anymore. You know what? And I say, won't feel no quite anymore. Monimra Pomka. And the Abasana, Mammy, I too for Sana, a Boniana. Because
Okay.
Boniana. They want to say, when you are sorry, up for you be chin, Abraham, no, what you would tell her, who will be grandma, that would be and for 25 for one. If you know, say, all I deliver, but some of the book I can say, if I know you're not going for that, by saying Parano, some of one, no one by this one, who will say, you're Boniana.
Okay. Okay, yo, Mama, any amedasi bebre. Yo, Mama, my bedja for Akasa. So, what do you think? Mama say, who feels say a pennymutu for a Boniana? What do you say?
I don't think say a bonnet
Okay.
because API. Umami pianas, umami nua pia ye umami. Nti otu fu say
ana umami yonku bia.
Aha. Umami nti otu fu say pia baby a fie ne du no. Wa start say odwan ware ho ana say ware a. Me hu ne say ye bone that but dear me hu ne say e ya do so a na fin e create unnecessary pressure
From the same person.
From the same person and
or from
say
others.
From others. E ya do so na it creates pressure. We prepare who do who could ready be more. If you are ready, and I say it's the right thing for you. Now you're spending the rest of your life being miserable. And that's not what nobody wants.
Absolutely.
But if you say what to boy not we hear things in a way that who say baby I made you know it's okay, not because say me do fear say no in say yes, women, we do have a biological time clock.
Yeah.
We are at an age where we do understand that. However, every woman has their own pace. And in our and can't say no man go school no retreat. Said they say you go school retreat no. And I go school we are. It doesn't stop there. Sometimes you keep going. So back in the day it's not the same as now. So be to me for say be I started say what journey ho na say bibi sa enya bone but a yard or swan.
Okay.
And when they answer
One thing I'd add is the way the person also says
Thank
it.
you.
The way obviously approach you.
Thank you.
Okay.
And also so who here.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yo, I hope that Mama, answer or question or say almost see any bonnet, but a dozen be bria, auntie ye can, auntie akosi can, auntie ame can, auntie fie can, na send your more canon. Hey, mommy, now sorry, I will chinchini. Don't worry, now I done for be worry. I say it puts undue pressure.
And it's evident, some of them don't, some aunties or uncles don't even go out there to have a further conversation. What is going on with that person's life? I don't even understand at the stage. Like just.
Hello.
Hello. Good evening. I can hear you, sir. Hello. Oh, come again.
Yeah, hello, good evening.
A very good evening to you. I'm listening. I can hear you. I think so, baby. Auntie. Hello. Okay. So I think what we're saying in say yes, a yes say you drew baby a person you worry, mama you worry, and that's a more encouraging, but a year too much is on.
And can I say one thing as well?
Yeah.
With women as well, especially in our African culture. Yes, na was one bed too for, and maybe I walk up who at the walk shower room. However, and some neighbor. Now, o kotina ne channel ne ka bia obeka say amanye nso tena ho sa tena ho sa the man will always be right. To me anyway, in most of African aunties' eyes your bias is what now home sa. And says now home sa, and I think say it's very important if I take my time to do it.
Oh, absolutely.
Thank
Well,
you.
that part, yeah, I think that is what you have said, because our area is something you go into it. It comes from such a beautiful place. And he even say, it means say you kind of so many times, and I kind of in the way you receive it at. Pardon us. It's all coming from a nice place,
But
okay?
Auntie, good intent doesn't justify reason.
That's the thing.
That's
Well, I'm
that's
responsible for what I
it's
say. I'm not responsible for how you understand it.
No, no. It's the basics. Good intent doesn't justify reason. I might have good intent of telling you something, but is it really what I want?
Okay.
That's one thing we should understand before you approach somebody.
Okay.
Do you really know the person well?
Okay.
Do you really understand the person well?
Right.
Do you know what the person is going through?
So you want, but well, you're being biased. So what Jane say, if I want to come and say something I feel, say as the body of Christ, it means say I should know your psychosocial analysis
No,
of a
but at
human
least-
being.
no,
Things of the spirit is things of the spirit.
Absolutely.
Things of the flesh
Are
are things of the flesh.
Every cry now or girl be she baby.
How will you know?
Yeah,
You will know.
yeah,
And then
yeah.
your intent of introducing me to somebody, or maybe making me known and telling me, say, oh,
And your mom first
no, but how many people that will introduce their girlfriends or their fiancés to their church members? It goes to my mom or my dad.
You'll be in trouble.
That is, no, it goes to them.
Okay. Your mama no papa now be person.
Me mama ne papa me dem ba be kire say so hwehwe abrant ababa we anasa ba owo me ho me ne tu ana mo ye pese e ware. Enti
After that, then it comes to the church.
the church will be literally
The last,
the
last,
yeah.
yeah.
And even last the crowd mon for mon bre. Na ye hu say as ya adwuma no no say ye hu say mo nyina mo ware na ye.
As Obano, it doesn't look good on you.
Let
Said
the biya
only Bema way
Ah, that
the
part.
bialam dibia be kire, the bialam dibia be
Okay.
kire. Enti mo kran beka say abrantie the bi odoba fofo.
Are you serious?
Enti
Sir.
ebi wa anya say eni hu say
But
ka
yeah,
blafu.
look, our career is a human relationship. It's a relationship. And relationships break, don't they, unfortunately? But it doesn't mean someone died. Does it? It doesn't. It's not a tragic thing. It is a mon worry and namu dating a youth seminar be or the nice girl be a banana who say, oh, this is Miss Patricia, whoever. Now, you know, I'll catch up. Say, oh, she's nice. I would want to hopefully B, I would want to marry her one day. Do I hold you against it? No. It's a relationship.
Sadly,
That didn't work.
the African
It's not how it
culture does
works,
not.
yeah.
It doesn't work like
Yeah.
that.
But I know so far, I know that mama didn't hear me
The next day,
no.
na me de Mrs. Gloria Sobebano. And then the next thing will be an Patricia Kosi say. And then also the Gloria.
Say Basa and Nameka is the intent. But what I say the good
Intent,
listen, more yama, you want to be PC all the time. I said everything has to be politically correct. You live in this ideal world. But listen, girl, the world is not that ideal. I mean, we would want it all to be ideal. Would you be bad? Sorry, now the name bet. Well, one for that who cares? There is no point saying babe, but it means that the person is integrating with your space, integrating with the environment. It means say, oh, okay, in future, babe, who every kind of benya down for near the other, and we all feel that. Maybe girl no speak say, on family class or every crowd or girl be show and a boy who or boy be show until it's all goes both ways. But in the unfortunate incident, say and Wekia, I don't think people should be held against it. I don't know.
They shouldn't be, but that's not how our society
Exactly.
works.
Yeah.
these days.
Okay.
It does feel like someone has died. Someone hasn't actually died.
All
It
right.
does feel like it.
Yeah, nobody dies. Obia ngu say bia relationship anye ya. But I think say as a church, near ebema yen, I don't know there, but I'd like to think I'm speaking on behalf of most people in the church. We would want to see you young people flourish and marry and do exploits, you know. And I think say temptations no so. Stress any amohu ofe. Oh, temptations no so. You know, Ayana is a way of protecting you guys. But more that we're protecting you against the evil eye. Oh, more fact. You know, obi akwa fa no obi akofefe no ayo. But say ye cano a warrior, ye kase warrior. It's coming from a place of honestly, the core of it all is love. Bringing two people together in celebration, to celebrate each other, to do things together, to be a part of this beautiful community. Nothing beats that, okay? But I will still say it. All right, I will still say it.
Oh,
why not?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a nice thing. Even you cry,
And do you feel say you are prepared enough, though, in the church space? Do you feel say, apart from some say monwari, do you feel say maybe there are seminars around single people and I say more bewari and not more counseling? Do you think say you can say, oh, single people this weekend, mom, we are single? Because I am a firm believer in that. Yeah. When I think marriage, you should prepare the person mentally. Yeah. Mentally. Yeah. So do you think you have that opportunity?
I think definitely the resources are out there.
No, I mean in the church space.
I'm not gonna lie, I don't go to this church, but when I did go, I have seen things like that go on. So
all right. Then.
Within this church, I know that things like that do go on
beautiful.
for young and single people.
Yeah.
Okay.
The tools are definitely
okay. What's where? Do you feel
the church here personally is doing well in terms of, and that's like we've got something like this.
Papa, almost say, oh yeah, dear.
We've got something like this that we're discussing that is also getting the young. The church is doing well, but it's always been my issue with we should be able to define the role of the church in marriage.
Okay.
Would it be then if the church knows their role in marriages, I think it will help a lot.
Absolutely.
It will really help. Is it being about preparing the person? Is it being about teaching the person, making the person ready? Is it being like informing the person? Like the role the church plays in marriage really counts.
So, could I ask you a question?
Yeah.
So, on what grounds can the church say, this union, I can't ordain it? On what grounds does the church say, Wendy?
Can I help you with that, or do you want to? So, grounds are meaning say a church can say no, once we're in the diaspora, and sometimes people hide behind the fact that then they take undue advantage of young people, and who say, oh girl, wait, nah. Unfortunately, no, but I'm saying that to say that you guys have limited choice. you know, more choice, especially in the Ghanaian community. So it's all about worry Ghanaian. Wo ebi amoko unia. Look, nipa tuntum say nkra na wo mu uni class. And it means it says a authentic Ghanaian Christian. See, no, not wo bafom. I say wo options near very little. Enti wo behia obi na wo hu se oh wo pena na se bibi na sorry yeah I say oh no you're good now you're Christiania they are taking all the boxes for you are like oh enti time sorry Becca said there be ye time ebia ye nim say owo yiri e wo fie for to the best of my knowledge meaning say be obi wo yiri name maybe wo fie de ene sorry will always say no but other than that I don't know maybe papa for can you please put in the comments timer sorry bet to me aka de bi ewo awaremu you can put it in the comments we'll read it because I know of one especially say nipa na warrior if you have any other can you let us know and no na me name.
Okay. And I think sometimes it's church by churches anyway. Some churches has got their own way of accepting marriages and recognizing it, if I want to put it that way.
So that's where you have a problem with.
And that's why I have the problem with the recognition. What role at all? And I think this should be a topic that we need to discuss for you. Because I'm speaking from many young people's perspective. Like, it's like the drift is now pulling straight into the church. Marriages, sometimes if you want to marry, sometimes there are certain churches that pastors have more say than even the family. They decide when to have it, when can you have it.
Oh, when to have it. Is the church calendar.
I'm just giving like an example like that. How you gonna have it, how you gonna happen it. And sometimes then it boxes some family to the box.
Puts people
like
in the box,
reading vows or not reading vows.
A marriage that has not already started, there's a bit of it starts with confusion all over. It will be best when we'll be able to know the role that they play in marriages, so that when a young person knows that this is the step,
it's clearly defined.
It's defined to the young person that this is how I want to go about it. This is what is accepted. This is what is not accepted, and it gives the young person a clearer understanding of what marriage is. Because if you look at the divorce rate nowadays, the young generation are just they're tasting marriages like they're tasting ice cream. You take this one, Coca-Cola, you don't like it, push. You take Fanta, you don't like it, push.
But,
because they don't understand what they're getting themselves
on that note, I think that the church should push measures or tools on, not only on preparing young people into it, but on helping sustaining people into it.
All right,
people that are already in, you know, whether that was 30 years ago or just 1 month ago, you know, to help people to keep themselves in the marriage. And, you know, when children comes and when certain issues, every couple have their own different unique issues. So the support should be there also when the whole like wedding has already happened.
I will say to that though, and yet, and the church has a role within all of that. But young people and Warren, the work is on us. Courtship now, you should be discussing such important things. Courtship now is not about a DDA and no. Talk about Sika. Talk about, have an open and honest conversation. Little things, even getting to the point of children. How many children are we going to have? What if we have, God forbid, a child with learning difficulties? How are we going to manage that? How if this person, like, cover everything? Because enuna yankova ube una problem oba warienum then we run to the people. But say yakova sa niema we nyina. If these are all possibilities, we will learn very quickly. Say, oh, we'll go back to the drawing board. 19 January 2020. You can say BBC. Well, I'm that structured. You can say BBC, this is what we're going to do. ABA in 19 and 20, or 1925. What are we doing now with what we have? And see, when you go out with people, talk about everything. No topic should be off limits. You know. But no, it is bigger than that, it's more than that. And the marriage is not sustained because you can't over a courtship now. So then we're all informed, you know. We didn't talk about it, so we're like, oh, where do we go? How do we attack it? So have honest conversations with girls and boys.
Can I just say, during marriage counseling, all of those things will be brought up. to see your compatibility with that person. I haven't been to one, but I assume. And so I just want to ask him, said, during that time, no, see the church who said, I'm just playing the devil's advocate here,
Right.
no, I think. But the church sees that you're not compatible, and on those grounds, they don't want to marry the two of you. Do you think the church has overstepped their boundaries in doing so?
If you put it in a way that we're incompatible, in what way?
Say, we've analysed, this is what you want. Nipanaka said, this is what I'm looking for in the future. Whereas compared to yours, is completely different.
But that shouldn't be the church's role anyway,
That
should
shouldn't
that?
be them deciding
No.
it.
It should be the two people
This is
saying,
us, me and you.
because in your church, you don't know,
Like myself, if this is the level I want to reach in my school level, and this is the level I want my woman to reach in her school level, if it's not going to work, why do we even put it in front of the church in the first place? It shouldn't be a conversation between me and you to decide.
Okay, and again, I'm playing the devil's advocate, but you're bringing it in. And the church is some sort of way, say, how do you say in tree? In a way, they feel, I think they would feel, say, it is their responsibility, say, what so
absolutely.
in a way, say, and they tell you this is what we think, we do not agree with this. Do you think that they're overstepping the boundaries?
Yeah, they have.
No,
in my opinion.
I think
Then what's the point?
There is a comment. Can you please read it?
All right, so this is for medicine. It's not actually a comment. I just had a phone call come through.
Okay.
Medicine, so someone asked, or they don't agree, or they don't understand what you're trying to say with what role is the church playing. The only way a church will say, no, they won't let you get married, is if the person is already married. Church will guide you into counseling for a few months until they deem you ready.
Right.
If they feel that you're not ready, they will continue to counsel you until they feel like you're ready.
So it could be 2 years.
Can you elaborate? They don't understand what you're trying to
5
say.
years old, you know.
The whole kind of montias here. The church, they will give you a date. No, so you go with your date after counseling. If the date suits the church, they will give you the go-ahead, provided you're not married or you don't have a wife or the woman doesn't have an husband. So, you see, an old problem than anything.
Okay, unim mate. I am mengwa se menkwana mate wudi. Or no patch say what could have been a union as a church, and the church should have a say. But medicine, cause sometimes no, a church no puti so many boundaries in place. It's say every crowd they overstep their boundaries.
So,
and see, the church should have the clearly defined roles there.
Auntie, let me explain that.
Okay.
And the person watching will understand.
Right.
So I've met Beatrice.
Yeah.
And we studied each other. We
Right.
introduced ourselves to the family.
Right.
As a family, we sat down and agreed that this is what is accepted in our family if you want to marry Beatrice.
Right.
Bring these items or bring this stuff and marry our daughter Beatrice.
Right.
My family and her family has agreed that on the 4th of December, we're gonna join the two of you together
Right.
as a couple,
Okay.
as two family union. Maybe I might bring it to my church, and then they said, no, we can't accept this.
On what grounds?
On what grounds? Maybe we don't even have, we won't be able to have anybody officiating literally your marriage at that date, at that time. But the two family between us has agreed on this date. And in my point, marriage is a union between families. So if this agreement has been done, why do I then forgo this family agreement? Which has
but
been-
that's unfair.
Ah.
That's so unfair.
Yeah,
You
I
can't.
say, medicine now
That's
you're
so
debating. First, now make
That's
your
very
answer.
unfair to the
I wanna
church.
bring it out.
Okay, yeah,
I want to bring it out so
okay,
that
land.
you understand the
land.
road I mean.
Okay.
So then at this point, it is between the family,
Uh-huh.
which has already made a date arrangement and everything, and then the church, who is saying that we would have won it this way, that way, and that way. That is why I want to say that what is the role?
But I
So when I want the bar, sorry
No.
I don't want to say
Let
you were
me
boosting.
land. So what is the role? That's why I want us to everybody to clarify it.
Okay.
So this is a thing between families.
Right.
And this is the church that you've assigned yourself to. So you've got two things.
Right.
The original initiation between the two families has come into an agreement and a conclusion.
Right.
So that's why I want to find out what role will the family play in terms of
The church or the
stepping into the family.
Okay.
And then making this happen between the church and then the family. What role do they play?
Marriage is a union between families, but it's also a union between communities. It's more than everything a union between society. So, we're here as a product of marriage, isn't it? It's and in the larger context, the world, isn't it? Yeah. So, as B said, the church is also your family. One would choose to say, okay, me senior me ten me person me worry was sorry. I mean, I'm a MC was sorry. Was me worry be ye and ni can say me now for any my young for what baby be say oh a be jam was sorry. And the church will say okay, so what do you bad and yeah sorry. Was so call a counseling for 6 months. Within that counseling, no, these are the things, sir. What bet your best expecting of you? When you're banning Konantiana, when you're banning yes, but within the counseling, more than that, these are the things we're going to be talking about. If you, I'm using senior media, so these are the things of money you can. These are the things of more. Into you betum penny for more betum more for near dear or money more beck can be beer. They will never say oh, it won't be the church role say. Oh, ena mame obani fie sebe kese pa unse kaneni ya ware ni ekwa abusuam se bia yare bi wo ho e bia sickle cell e bi kra AIDS ni ade ni it won't be the church's role to do that. No, it won't be the church's, it will be the family's role. Say omo be hwehwe yare ni suban bi e bia fia for the sebe kese pa omo muade sebe like all those things ni ye. But the church role no say they do what the church say, they go with the biblical context of marriage.
Auntie, can I ask a question?
Yeah.
I'm trying to say yes. You come honey, but the most of us in the honey war,
yeah.
And a baby now don't have the privilege to be in this country to have their family with them.
Yeah.
In Tibia, we are ba, and I saw we bema. We free Ghana na wabaha. Ebia adum binti and ediwabe pi hanum say you are the only person. Your family does not have the opportunity. They're back there. And so when you get to the point where you want to make that decision, so at that point, can you say the church can then step in?
Yes.
If there is what you want, I want that role to be outlined so people understand. I
think also senior B kind of the roles should be separate for different people because ebia senior okay nya wone wo maame no papa ne wo ha ebia you see panyimu bi wa sorry mu a wo feel say oh this is the person I'm a person or yes ade we mami ebi kra na panyimu no oh ebi kra na nipa no ware no Ghana ebia na okọ Ghana sorry bi ni ade they need to liaise with sorry for now more Ghana to say oh yeah man baako be ware wo ho na sa cratch we yo wo mo sorry we ni suban to say and no is the church's role to do that.
Yeah. You said it's different for Obia. It should be different for Obia.
Yeah.
However,
but then there's a generalized one that is a blanket one.
Okay. So
but it can be tailored specifically to your needs.
I just want to say, so your mommy, sorry, your mommy. Now, the mimi situation is different, but the same thing, no, or yema obia. The church has the intention, said they're doing this a good thing for me. Yeah. However, if the church does it for somebody where the person does not agree with that, or their circumstances are different.
I wouldn't say bonnie because it's not done with a diabolic intention. I think say bia here be bia now we'll catch it nipa na obeya it say bia send ye can say oh bia Papa, nipa no wa Ghana ha baby nti mumbisa na se mame. Papa will do that. But one kasumpa, I don't think say obey because say there is a clearly defined role. Because say oh okay, someone be say busuafo no. Oh okay nti ya date. Okay, omo we counseling na we. Ahaso oni obi anwo ye. Ahaso oni obi anye say. Aboy ikro ye active o ye ne bibia se ne yourself ye. Ni ade ade a. I don't think say there will be any role for the church to play. Sorry, there's a comment.
Right, there's a contribution, and the person says that at this church, they don't stop you from getting married if you want to get married outside. So if you got arranged marriage with, if you have arranged a marriage with your family, they don't have a problem. However, within this church, if you do have a problem, if you go through that path, if you've got a problem, do not expect the pastor to come and sit and solve it for you, because he wasn't a witness when you were getting married.
Okay.
And that clearly states the role of the church in marriage. And these are the things that I wanted to come out, so that when someone is making that conscious decision, he knows that if I forgo and go through this part,
and take sorry out.
That is it. So that we know that they've got a definite role to play in marriages. And it helps young people to understand that this is the route I have to take, and this is, if I don't take this route, that is where it ends me.
These are the consequences.
But I don't know. I'm sure that the route can also be different depending on your need. Okay, depending on your specific need and your specific circumstance. I think that there should be allowance for that.
Okay, because I'm thinking where he's thinking the church may be overstepping their boundaries, you know. But before they already know that this is what I want. That's why I've entered this church. And since they say it as a blessing to them. So you saying, say, the church should not do this, or they're overstepping their boundaries. And it makes me question, say, did you not know before you put yourself into that?
I think, for some of them, they didn't know until they got to counseling. Then it's spelled out, say, sorry, this is the rules. Sorry, say, or marriage ceremony, we don't read vows.
It's like my friend's own.
Exactly.
He never knew till he got to Ghana and then planned everything. Then they said, oh, this is our rules, bam, bam, but if you can't do this, it can't happen.
You can't get married.
And someone that booked a one-way ticket to get married was given 6 months counseling to do.
No, listen. And also, like young people, you shouldn't. Look, I don't know, but you can't just sit down and say, okay, my bookie 1 week ticket to me, babe, worry, no way.
Did accept and book a
no. But the church is not your only family.
Why did you not know that?
The church is not your only. Sorry, your family is not your only family. The church is a family and an organization on its own. So you can't say, oh, my bookie may take. No, that sounds disrespectful.
Like you're imposing what you want on them.
Because that's not the church's fault.
No, I don't think the church's fault.
You're
right. Okay, it's been quite an intellectually stimulating conversation. It's been great having you guys around. I have been challenged. I think someone said something profound. Was it what we learn in a conversation we would never be able to read in a book? I think I've learned so much about you guys, and it's been very, very, very nice. I know where you're coming from, and I understand you, but I also understand what you're saying, B, because
you see, we're social true. We're not
but no. Medicine, can I say, per se. Sorry, no road to go into family. Say, oh you say. But also, meaning say bit me because say because na nipani ni ebusuani bi wo ha e wo say yes man. And as a church, that gives you a sense of belongingness, isn't it? It gives you some sense of, tribalism, isn't it? You feel like you belong to this tribe. And that is all we want, isn't it? We all want to belong, isn't it? You can't peer pressure. I don't know how peer pressure came into marriage, but it's been good. I've been led by you. I loved it. So, your final words. B, what do you think?
I'd say overall, if you are doing anything, it's good to take advice. From people elderly than you, because they've been through things that you haven't been through. They've seen more things than you have. So it's always good. But at the end of the day, it's not everything that would help you. As I say, now who say, maybe not this time, but later on. And I think, yes, as girls, it's okay for our mothers and whoever loves us to be able to say this is the time to get married or do something like this, but there shouldn't be any pressure. As I said, you should yes, we know that it's coming from a loving place, but it shouldn't be too much, I'd say.
Okay.
Yeah.
What about you, Dave?
100% agree. I don't.
I say, when you didn't want, I said, what, yeah, oh, I 100% agree. I said, come and be, what are you doing? Like,
Oh, I 100% agree with what Beatrice is saying. I don't think that when it comes to stuff like marriage,
right.
there shouldn't be any pressure.
Absolutely.
You can advise, and even when you advise, how you advise is very important, because you can advise someone and it goes in and comes straight out because of how you approached it and how you said it.
Okay.
So that's just if you're going to advise someone about them, just how you do it, the tone of voice. Have you even got a relationship with them to even have that have that conversation? Do I know you enough to even have that kind
Listen, as the auntie in church, I will be saying it. Whether you feel you have a relationship with me or not, I will come to you and say, look, man, your beard is going gray. You need some, you need a wife, okay? If you want to help you, it's my duty. So I'm not even taking it. Whether I have a relationship with you or not, I'm not taking it. Anyway, go on. But at Tiefwati, they've heard you.
Okay.
I'm just saying, okay. Right, you, Metsi.
I think we are all individuals and we got one goal spiritually to grow as Christians. But
absolutely.
one thing that I wanted to understand that I think the situation and backgrounds of people speaks a lot. And so if you're trying to tell somebody something, at least try and picture that if you were in that same position, how would you expect someone to talk to you in a way? And as a young person, I do advise most young people, whatever that someone tells you, take it, walk away, agree to it whilst you are there. In your mind, agree to disagree, because that's the only thing you can do. Than snubbing the person or showing some attitude. It's not the best. But if someone, it's like even being saying that someone insults you. If you say you are stupid, acknowledge that, walk away, and then assess your life and see if you are stupid or not. If you are, you've learned something that you know that you are. If you are not, it's a saying. Every saying means something if you agree to it. So you just pass by. So as a young person, we should be able to understand that the adults will not come out of any bad intention. But I always say that intent doesn't justify any reason, because you might have a good intention, but at the end of the day, is it what I really want? We should know how to approach people, how to talk to them. We should put ourselves in their situation, because people face different battles as they go along as young people. And then as young people, we should always listen and then take what we think will help us in life and move on with it.
Okay. He said everything.
Hey,
he said, but that's it basically. Like whoever is giving the advice or whoever is trying to push the person to do better, no, their approach is really important. And I would vouch to have a relationship with them, because that also helps you understand their background better, so you know how to say what you're saying or implement the advice. And then for the other party listening or on the receiving end, I think that no matter what comes across, you should have that humble listening ear, and you should really just think about it. You know, don't snap because you feel like you've been criticized. Baby, and your can also say I'm part, like, you know. You don't know it all. Yeah, exactly. But definitely like humility on both sides, and yeah, that's what I'd say personally.
It feels like a crime. I feel that I was about to end, and it feels like, oh no, the police is coming. It's been such a kind of very educative, informative, and also entertaining. Great. I think that we've been given an opportunity to continue tomorrow. Next week. Sorry, not tomorrow. Next week, tomorrow, sorry. Next week, Saturday. So next week, Saturday, put it on your calendars and on your schedules. What I will say from all of this is, I think that peer pressure is happening, and unfortunately, from what we've all talked about, it's almost like it happens in church around marriage. So whilst you guys are saying that we should be conscious of what we say and how we say, I will still maintain that if someone comes to talk to you like that, which you've all agreed, it's coming from a place of love and nurture and care. It's nothing diabolic. The church wants to see young people grow and thrive and do well. And some of the ways they feel young people can grow and thrive and do well is via marriages and having good commitment to each other, because it means we're focused. It means in a good way. It means we're going to do great. So that is why we do that. And maybe as a church, and I'm glad you've all been honest, Namaka, near Mopese as a church, we do to support you. But I will say, Medicine, to you, we're responsible for what we say. We're not responsible for how you understand it or interpret or maybe misinterpret it. So I will say that. And we will end here. And we'll come to your homes same time next week. It's been a privilege. Thank you so much for coming, for taking time out of your busy schedules to come and sit with my boring old self.
It wasn't boring at all.
But it's been quite an exciting and a revealing time for me. So see you same time next week. Thank you. Bye-bye.